Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this edition of Newscast on Canal International. I'm covering the top stories. Inhabitants of Donga Mountain Division in the Northwest region have expressed frustration and the fear of the known after the main roads linking the division has been completely cut off from the rest of the region by alleged separatist fighters for months now. And today, October 11, is observed as the International Day of the Girl Child. In a ceremony in Yaoundé, the girl child was challenged to cultivate a more responsible usage of the social media. And Cameroon music artist Aïdjo Mamadou has debunked his own third falsely announced by the social media. Those were major stories. Details right ahead.
Canal International.
Good evening once more. Begin with sports news. The Indomitable Lions of Cameroon a while ago this Monday afternoon defeated their Mozambique counterparts 1-0 in a return leg game, which was played in Morocco with Mozambique as host. The game counting the 4 of Qatar World Cup qualifier matches. The lone goal for Cameroon was scored by Michel Ngandu at the 68th minute. Today's victory puts Cameroon at the top of the table in Group B with 9 points, followed by Ivory Coast with 7 points, and also followed by Ivory Coast with 7 points rather, but currently locking horns with Malawi all a 1-1 tie at the start of the second half. If Ivory Coast wins, they go back to the top position. A draw or defeat gives Cameroon a better position. We'll come back to that in subsequent editions of the news. And we now take you to Donga Mountain Division in the northwest region of Cameroon, where inhabitants have expressed frustration and the fear of the known after the main roads linking the divisions. The rest of the region has been completely cut off by alleged separatist fighters for months now. They have, according to the population, they have been living in trauma since 2018 following the complete blockage of National Road number 11. Local radio stations have covered or carried the information of the constant threats by alleged separatist fighters in that part of the country. Inhabitants are now forced to use secondary roads that links to the west region of Cameroon, but with serious economic effects that go to high cost of transportation. We'll certainly come back to that in subsequent editions of the news. And we now talk education. Classes have officially resumed in all state universities across Cameroon. At the University of Douala, older students have begun receiving lectures while freshmen continue roaming the campus, struggling for pre-registration modalities. As we hear the following story.
It is a busy and crowded campus. This after the official resumption date at the University of Douala, October 11, 2021. While all students are already grabbing lectures in amphitheaters, freshmen are moving about the campus as they struggle with pre-registration and also to make an informed choice. Onana Bekono, just like other students crowding different stands on campus, are all freshmen. She needs assistance. I'm here for pre-registration modalities. I'm interested in economic sciences. I want to be a banker. I'm done with pre-registration. I'm just so interested in bilingual series. I want to learn the English language so I could go back home in the north to teach my people. At just 16, this student has embarked on a new journey. He is interested in geography and remains optimistic, especially when he is confident about the so many openings upon completion from university. The different stands brandishing different faculties and courses is an initiative of the student union who have passion to orientate freshmen so they don't get misled and frustrated. You begin with pre-registration and then we tell them the next steps to take. Freshmen have been given up to a week to finalize registration procedure before they could get to real business on campus.
And we also got in touch with the Vice Dean at the Faculty of Letters. He talks on registration modalities.
Freshmen and Masters 1 who are new have not started today because we've given them at least a week again to be able to let the admissions office receive the pre-registration documents, because freshmen are many and most of them have not yet deposited their documents because they begin pre-registration from online before bringing their first year and fourth year. The timetables are not out, because if we put them out, they will start running to go to class, and some of them will end up not depositing their documents, not submitting their files, and this will have an effect when we're giving results. The Students' Union works in direct collaboration with the Dean of the faculty, and they are in charge of receiving freshmen, orientating them, and giving them flyers. And there are other colleagues who are involved in the orientation team.
Young girls have been challenged to cultivate a more responsible usage of the social media. The message was echoed today by the Minister of Women and the Family on the occasion of the International Day of the Girl Child. As we hear the following story with Beatrice Ngamo.
Digital Generation, Our Generation is the theme that marks the commemoration of the 10th edition of the International Day of the Girl Child. The theme, in line with the 2040 agenda of the African Union, poses a double challenge.
The first challenge is that no girl should be left behind in the digital diktat. The second challenge is the proper use of digital technology.
Nowadays, digital literacy is considered as one of the best ways to foster women empowerment, management of enterprises, and other channels of leadership.
It is a matter of survival for her and for society as a whole. Indeed, digital technology offers the jobs of tomorrow and also the best paid jobs and real places of power.
The use of digital technology, she underlines, is dangerous to the girl child. When irresponsibly used, the spreading of unethical content without considering the vulnerability of the child.
Dangerous opportunity to downfall and perdition if it is not used wisely. The image of the Cameroonian girl has been associated in recent months with obscene publications on the internet, thus violating her dignity and moral integrity.
Today's press declaration was also an opportunity for Minister Marie-Therese Obena Ondwa of Women Empowerment and the Family to pull the ears of young Cameroonian girls on the responsible use of different social media platforms, WhatsApp, Instagram, Twitter, among others, for economic and social benefit, not on activities that will ruin your life.
That was what I report by our student journalist in Yaoundé. Now, most enterprises are known to have a negative customer relation, which is causing a lot of problems to such enterprises. And as such, in order to help enterprises build the image, a managerial empowerment session took place over the weekend. Kejan Henry Atembe completes that story.
Image building is a capital aspect in any company, and that image is guaranteed by front office staff who are the liaison officers between the enterprise and the public.
Customer experience is very crucial. We have been listening to the panelists. First lesson is that it's also part of culture. So it's not something that we just decree. So it should come from the leadership. Now, we saw also that the front line staff need to be equipped, need to be trained, and need also to be empowered. We see that with the COVID-19 pandemic, there is more stress. Although the digitalization has been an opportunity where maybe people are more digital, but we said the solution will be phygital.
The relationship between enterprises and their customers is deteriorating on a daily basis as a result of multiple factors.
A platform to call on professionals of the customer service world to come together and share best practices. Now, why is it that Africa is not making gains despite its potentials? Because the world articulates on businesses.
Meeting at the confines of the Cameroon Businessmen Association, JICAM, in Douala, Customers' Quality Services was on a spotlight on the experiences customers have on the market chain. The platform is to preempt poor relations that is existing between customers and the enterprises, especially as the customer is at the center of the marketplace. Exchanging experiences led to the conclusion that enterprises must invest a lot in their personnel, which is a major factor of the production chain.
Sickle cell anemia is one of the illnesses that need palliative care, that is medical caregiving approach to optimize the quality of life and mitigate sufferings, though an urgent health approach. According to the World Health Organization, it is still lacking for hundreds of thousands of patients in need of medical attention. More in the following story.
It is through his tears that the man expresses the pain within. Deep gripping pain from around the joints, waist, back when in crisis. This lower seat student is a sickle cell patient, the last surviving child of 5 siblings, 4 gone despite the efforts of the parents. Living with this disorder that causes red blood cells to become misshapen or break down since birth, challenging to the student and family. Mocked by his friends, especially when in crisis, thrown from one school to another because of financial difficulties on the parts of the parents. Painful situation indeed, as parents prefers to grieve in their hidden corners. The Santo Domingo Palliative Care Team was at the Zemengwe residence behind Mount Febe village in Yaoundé Sunday for their routine check aimed at optimizing quality of life and mitigating suffering of these persons with serious, complex, and at times terminal diseases. Medication what the doctors offer after consultation. The psychiatrist then takes the relay, lifting their hope of a brighter future despite the odds. At Boni area, Corbison neighborhood is the home of another 15-year-old, Leah, the Form 5 student, only child till now of the mother after separation with the father. The daughter's crisis period, pitiable, and she has no choice than join in her pains, embracing all as God's gift to her. Like Emmanuel, Leah's wish is for long life. Yes, the illness can last for years, or lifelong, or briefly, as is the case of others. These two are among the 15 children receiving palliative care in Yaoundé, suffering from either sickle cell anemia, cancer, or HIV and AIDS. According to the World Health Organization, some 40 million persons in the world actually need palliative care. Its integration into the healthcare system here in Cameroon, but imperative.
How can journalists better manage stress in the course of their duties and better communicate on mental health issues? This is the focus of a capacity building workshop that brought together over 30 media practitioners in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé. The initiative is that of Public Health Ministry on the sidelines of World Mental Health. The commemorated on October 10, 2021. Beatrice Ngamo has the rest of that story.
The lesson of the day for reporters was on mental health, which simply means a state of well-being in which an individual is productive, can cope with daily challenges, normal stress of life, being self-fulfilling and useful to the community. Each time one is in a state of distress, like the loss of a job, at year one, or when in a kind of difficult situation, shows you have a problem of mental health without necessarily being a mental patient. Situation often confused with mental illness or disorder, which is an affliction that affects the behavioral, emotional, and cognitive spheres of an individual. It is more of depression. A clear understanding of the difference between the two important for reporters.
It's very important that us as media practitioners, we should understand these basic concepts about mental health and mental illness so that we can transmit it to our listeners for them to also understand, because the society tends to stigmatize, to insult, to misunderstand the issues.
It can be problems from home, it can be maybe at our job site, stress and so on and so forth due to many problems. So we learned here how to go about all of these issues.
Understanding means better communication as journalists. And to remain on track, personal care imperative. So personal hygiene, a stable psychic life, especially within the context of this COVID-19. The drilling of journalists by Public Health Ministry was on the occasion of World Mental Health Day, yesterday, October the 10th, 2021.
And that report brings us to the end of this edition of Newscast on Canal the International. Thanks so much for watching. We have news in the French language coming up at exactly 7:50. This level is Canal with Emeka Timukuri, and coming up next is the brief with journalist in Yaoundé, Buba Ngomna. As for me, I'll be back tomorrow for another edition of the news in the English language. Good night.